Alright guys, so we're going to start the first video here and move around here a little bit. So what I got set up was I set up my 12 by 12 inch grid, and then on the wall behind you, and I'll show you really quick, maybe this will be seamless because there's a tripod and it's a tight space in here, and it's not seamless, but there's my wall. To the left is the 14 by 14 and then the 16 by 16. Now I said 2-inch borders on these bad boys. I mean 1-inch border in the write-up, but the 1-inch you'll definitely have to do on the 16 by 16. The 14 by 14 and 12 by 12, you can have a 2-inch border on there. I like the 2-inch border better than a 1-inch border, but anyway. So there is all the grids are already taped out and ready to go. I made little notations at the bottom. You'll see one says 14 by 14 grid, the other says 16 by 16 grid, and the other says 12 by 12 grid. So what I like about that is that I have this area here and I can make notes there as I go. So now here we are back set up, right? And what I did was I laid out the paint here, because I'm going to start with the warm and cool design, right? And so what I did here was I laid out the warm colors, which in your kit will be the yellow and the red and the crimson. All right, so we're going to say crimson is warm for now, though it probably is more warm than cool. Then in the cool side, I put down the purple. There's a violet that you guys should have in yours actually, or no, it's a purple. Procession, which you guys no longer have. I'm not sure what you have. The ultramarine, the phthalo blue. I think you have phthalo blue and ultramarine, and the sap green. So I'm going to go 2 and 1 on that. I'm going to pick 2 warms and 1 cool, or 2 cools and 1 warm, and I haven't made up that mind yet, right? So as you can see, I have not drawn anything in the grid, because I would like us to get to at least one of these where you don't draw anything out. You just like get in there and say, oh, let's put this green in here and it's going to be rectangular shape and it's going to be so big. And then you respond to it. However, for just starting for this one, and we're going to adjust so I can get you a better view here, we are going to do a little bit of a grid. And let me see how that works, and let me adjust this, there, and unfortunately there's that shadow, and we'll work on that later, but there. So there is the paper, right? The grid. And you're missing the bottom of it, so, or my top of it, so let's adjust that. Oh, come on. This is the least user-friendly, what do you call it, tripod on the planet. Still it's out of frame. Alright, there we go, that's good. Alright. So, loose grid, right? You can work curve shapes in here. So, I'm just free associating, right? And I'm going to go like, well, let's try this. Let's see if we go in here and we put something in here. Right, and then we bounce off in here, and then we bounce off in, oh, let's go here, and here, and I'm going to go here, and here, and I look at that and I go like, okay, there's some other things I can do. I might do something up and through here, but not right now. So, I'm going to go, as I said, I'm going to go warm and cool. And I'm going to decide to go 1 warm and 2 cool. So I'm going to pick the cadmium yellow deep. I'm going to pick the phthalo blue. And I'm going to go with the purple. All right? So I've got them. Now it's all going to, how am I going to start here? Am I going to go brushes or a palette knife? And you know what I want to do? I want to go palette knife. So I'm going to grab some of that cadmium yellow, because already I've got an idea where I want to place that. And I'm just winging it, guys. It's like, I feel like what we're working towards in here is building a knowledge base so that you can start to just, without drawing everything out, get into the painting and go. All right? So I'm going to grab some yellow, right? It's over, you can't see it, but I'm mixing. There's yellow. And I'm going to go right in here. And I'm going to follow. I'm not going to add any other color to that. I'm going to just work with the colors I've selected, right? And I'm going to drop that in here. Now, what I'm hoping for is that as I build this design, painting or whatnot, loose grid, that I can put colors around it, the other cool colors and maybe a warm color, the other cool colors around it, to squeeze that yellow. Now what you're noticing is also that yellow is really transparent. There's a knot going on in it. There's not a lot of pigment in it, so it's a difficult color. We're going to talk more about working with this color, okay? So I'm going to go there, and then just because I got a sense of it when I was working on this, putting that in there and talking to you guys, I think just there's one thing, but what about if we go over in here? So I'm going to go over in here and go there, and then I'm going to go here and tighten that edge up, and then maybe even in here, right? Now this is all changeable, all right? So we're down to a minute and so much. I got the yellow in there. Now let's see if we can, what happens if we put in the phthalo. I'm going to clean that palette knife, right? So I don't come up with a color that I don't want. And I'm thinking about the phthalo blue, right? And I'm thinking about where that's going to go. And once again, I'm not going to put anything. I'm just going to use water, a little bit on the palette knife. Drop it in there, do a quick mix the water into the phthalo blue, and I'm going to go the phthalo blue right in here, right? I'm going to do that whole thing. And first I'm going to get some paint out there so I can scrape it around. Now as I'm scraping, I'm thinking about edges, of course, right? I'm thinking about how I like this transparency of it, and the white paper comes through and it makes it really actually, electric in a certain way. But I think when you get in, add some white maybe to this phthalo blue, it'll take off in a certain way. We're down to 40 seconds on this first video. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working this, and then when we start the second video, you'll see where I am and we'll talk about where we want to go. The first goal obviously is to get a layer of paint in all the rectangles, right? That's the first goal. Go thin. Keep that idea going about thin to thick, right? And even when you're in here, I can start to get a sense of a possible texture because of how I scrape back so much, right? I know you can see that. A possible texture in there. All right? That's video number 1. 2 on its way.